I do.
All right.
Going to Jacksonville, playing a team that, out of this stretch, that's the one team that kind of, seemed to dominate you all on the field. What can you learn from that can help as you go down there trying to, kind of tinker with their playoff hopes?
Well, we got to go out there and play our best game of the year. That's the number one focus, going in, finishing Week 18 the right way. And you go back and look at the game. There was self-inflicted wounds throughout the game. Not converting on a fourth down situation, end of the half, and then a penalty to allow them to kick a field goal, and then to start the second half, another penalty that allowed them to continue a drive, get a touchdown. So there's certain things there. We got off to a good start offensively, going down there, running the football, and but it was just kind of self-inflicted wounds as we went along. So they're on a roll. Obviously, winning 7 in a row. The way Trevor's playing right now, really their whole entire football team, the way they're all playing, but offensively it starts with Trevor. He's playing lights out, and so we got to go play our best game.
How has he improved, I guess, even since last year?
Well, I think, the early on in the season, it's the first year in a system, and, we talked about this a number of times with Cam. Obviously, Cam's a rookie. Trevor's played more, but the first time you're in a new system, it takes you some time to get going, and then all of a sudden you hit that one point in the season where the things start clicking. It's not just him, but it's the entire team playing at a certain level, doing certain things, making plays in big games. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not shocked one bit the way he's playing and the way he hangs in there and takes the hit and delivers. But he's a really good player. He's a great person. So it doesn't shock me at all the way he's playing.
Your take on the contribution that Chig has made here, especially lately, where he's gotten into the end zone a couple times the last few weeks?
Yeah, what a great play there to make somebody miss. You see the plays he's made in the open field, regardless of what the route is, of making the first guy miss. And you love everything about him, the way he works, the way he shows up every day in practice, the way he's helped Gunner all year long. You sit in meetings and you hear them talking, or you see him on the practice field and with Luke, all those guys working together. But just so happy for him, I believe this is the most yards he's ever had, and I believe he's one catch away. I mean, to get his personal record, which is great. So very happy for him.
A couple things that maybe Cam could do to kind of top off the season and maybe cap it to make it as much of a success as it could be.
Number one, lead us to a victory. That's the big thing, is find a way to win this game and finish the season with a W on the road, division opponent. And, really like I tell him every day, I challenge him every week to play his best game of the year. And that starts with protecting the football, making good, quick decisions. But it's not just Cam, like I've told you guys all along. It's, having established in the run game, good protection up front, the guys outside winning one-on-ones, making the plays they're supposed to make. So,
when did you see the game slow down for Cam, or when did you see it kind of click for him that he took that step forward?
Well, I think there's been improvements on a weekly basis in different areas. You go in, starting back in the New England game as time went on, week after week. You guys asked initially about him running, making plays with his feet. I think it was 1 week, there was one conversion, running, then there was 3, then there was, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is as you go on. The ball security, as time went on, got better, and unfortunately we had one last week. But he got, not turning the ball over, having 2 touchdown passes weekly the last 4 weeks. The way he's played, and you just see the growth. And very similar to my comment earlier on Trevor, as the season goes on, the longer you're playing in a system with new teammates for Cam, playing with a bunch of, with the younger rookies on the offense, also with Chim, obviously Gunner and Ellick, of them playing better, playing faster. We established the running game, for over a month now, so that helps him. It settles everything down. We have more balance, so it makes it easier for him. You talk about Chig's touchdown. The reason that works and it looks the way it does is because we run the ball. And the commitment to the running game, you see everybody thinking we're going to run in that situation, and then here he goes wide open, and then he makes a guy miss.
What would you say were some of the fruitful lessons in year two with Trevor, your first year with him, that you kind of applied here to dealing with Cam that have worked? What would you say?
Well, I would say this. Trevor's the first year in 22 with Trevor, very similar to his year this year and Cam early on. As you go into a new year, a new system, there's the ups and downs. Seeing plays for certain coverages for the first time. You got thousands of reps the offseason program through training camp, but then you start tweaking things, adding some things, and we were over in London, and him and Marissa, his wife, were up there eating. We were getting ready to get on a plane. We had a little bit of a delay there before we went to the airport, so I went up there and talked to him about it. I said, "Hey, listen, buddy, you're doing a great job. It's the first year. There's some things you're learning in this system. It's going to click at some point in time, I promise you." And then we got on that run, and then we got on the playoff run. We beat the Chargers in the playoffs, all things like that. So it's not surprising at all, that the early parts of a season and then seeing players like him take off in the first year in a system.
Were there any particular moments, like you mentioned with Trevor and his late, were there any moments where you went to Cam specifically with that positive reinforcement?
No, that was weekly. That was weekly. I think one of the first conversations Cam and I had, back that New England week, was getting better every week and continually to improve. And there's going to be something you're going to learn every week. Like, for example, last week, the sack. That's one to learn from when you have a special pass rusher that can come off the edge the way it is, the way you can't move in the pocket. So I was going to tell him, hey, each week you're going to learn something. The key is to be playing your best football at the end of the year. So when you walk off that field at the end of the year, hey, you got better every week and you're going this way. And that's what he's doing.
Lee and Bryce, have you seen some benefits in the practice in the last couple of weeks? We're in a situation now where you just see how they are at the end of the week.
Yeah, just like every week, they've worked their tails off, and they're just fighting through certain things to get ready, and we'll see where they are the next couple of days, because with where we are, we might need them. So we'll see.
From a secondary standpoint, I know Dadar was talking about maybe having to piece things together. How you managing at cornerback so banged up?
That's kind of the way it's gone all year, really. Give Tony a ton of credit for working those guys and kind of just, it's the next man up mentality. It's unfortunate that Jalen went down like he did last week for a guy who's worked so hard and trying to get back, and then that happens. It's the bad part of the business, but give the defensive staff credit for, adjusting accordingly, and the mix and matching of personnel groupings and the position flexibility certain guys have to have.
How do you see the rookies handle the ups and downs of their first NFL season?
It's been phenomenal. I think they've done a phenomenal job. I think it starts with coaches. They've done a great job of helping these guys get better. That was one thing you guys asked me about the week in New England is growth. And I think if you look at the way the entire rookie class, now there's some who haven't played, but the guys who have played, you've seen them get better week in and week out. And there is the ups and downs of the season. It's not easy to win in the NFL. You got to play your best game week in and week out. But I think when you have the leaders we have and the vets that we have on this football team, and they watch the way those guys work, you mentioned Chig earlier, and you see the way he works every single day. And so it's easy for Gunner to look at someone like that and say, this is pretty special. The way Calvin, the way Van works every single day when they come in here, and it doesn't matter when it is, the offseason program, training camp, two vets. So the young receivers, this is simple. The DBs, watching the way the vets work, they see someone like Snead come back off of injuries and the way he worked to get back out there and how hard he works. See Hook. I go on and on about the vets. Up front, Jeff. Jeff is the best player in the NFL on defense. Week in and week out, you see what he does. It's no surprise. What this game means to him and how he works and the leader he is with his football team. And the great thing I love about Jeff is it's not easy to, I've told you guys this a number of times, it's not easy to lead sometimes because you got to say some things people don't want to hear. But Jeff says it because he has that burning desire to win and be great. and he wants to win so bad. But then he goes out on Sundays and he dominates. So he backs it up.
In the approach or the attitude when everybody knows it's the last game of the season and this is the last time that this team's going to be assembled?
You only get so many opportunities in this game to go out and play. You get 17 games a year, and you go week to week in this business. And I think we talked about it this morning, it's the last time to play with this team. Every year in the NFL, there's changes, roster changes. It's natural. That's every season. It's never the same. You come back in April, there's a number of changes. So it's an opportunity for us to go out and finish the right way with the special group. And I told the players that, I really told the rookies this morning how fortunate they are to be a part of this team because of the way you guys asked earlier about, the ups and downs of the season, but the way the vets have led, the way the coaches have coached these guys, and really, I'll say this, the entire organization sticking together through some tough times and buying in to what we're doing. So it's a special group. And, week 18, regardless your record is, when you're not in the playoffs, is never easy because it's the last time with that team. And, I can't thank this group enough for the way they've worked week in and week out. And they've never flinched. They just keep going. But it's a special group. So, all right.
It's a special group. What do you want this last game to say about who this team is?
Well, to go out there and play the way they've played. Every time, I talk to coaches on the other staff and players that I've coached, they talk about the way these guys have played all year long. And I couldn't think of any better way to go out and finish the season with getting a win against a division opponent. There is that professional hatred you have when you play division opponents, and you go back and you watch the game the last time, the saltiness of the game, and I know a lot of those guys over there on that team, and I understand when they play the Tennessee Titans what this game means to them. So, but it would just be kind of put an exclamation point on the season to go get a win, and that's what these guys deserve. All right. Well, hey, Happy New Year to y'all. Happy New Year. Have a good time. Stay out of trouble.